Hey everyone, it's Lucy from KBeautyHobbit.com. Welcome to my channel. I do a lot of nail tutorials here for things like stickers and press-ons, so if that's something that interests you, please stay around and check out my other videos. Today we're going to be trying together a new-to-me brand called Njala. I'm doing my best with pronunciation. The owner of the brand actually attempted to teach me how to say it, and I'm doing my best. I think I'm saying it right, but if I'm not, I am sorry. This is not a sponsored video. I bought these with my own money, and it's going to be an honest review as always. These are semi-cured gel stickers, meaning they are partially cured. You're going to apply them to your nails and then finish the process with a lamp. I always recommend getting a full-size gel lamp and not one of those tiny ones you get as freebies you purchase sometimes, because a big nail lamp is going to be better. It's going to cure things thoroughly and hopefully reduce the risk of developing any sort of gel allergies in the future. This is what they look like. They come in a little black box, and the reason for that is to shield them from the sun, because if these get exposed to the sun, while the sun isn't necessarily going to be enough to fully cure them on your hands, it will be enough to harden them and make them unusable. The brand provides some basic application instructions on the back, but I will be showing you a very detailed tutorial with a few extra steps to ensure as long of a wear as possible. I've been doing nails myself at home with stickers for about 10 years now. I've tried a ton of different brands, and I've had this channel for several years as well. But even before the channel, I've been doing stickers for a very long time, so I have developed some tips and tricks and some application techniques that really take these to the next level. One interesting thing is under components here, it lists that 2 prep pads are included. There were no prep pads in my package, so we'll just use something else and I'll show you a good alternative. I start every application by washing my hands thoroughly with soap and water. I dry them and then avoid doing lotions or oils or anything that could put additional grease or slip on the nail bed. You basically want everything to be dry and possibly kind of ugly looking. My nails are very dry naturally, but that's okay. That is better than putting nail stickers on top of lotion and then having them pop off within a matter of possibly hours or maybe days if you get lucky. I always push back the cuticle. You can see a lot of sort of dust looking crap coming off. That's just dead skin that is stuck to the nail plate. If you're using tools like what I'm using, and I'll put links for everything in the description box, but if you're using metal cuticle pushing things like this, be careful. They are sharp, or at least mine is pretty sharp. If you push very hard, you could start scraping the nail down. You don't want to do that. You're going to want to push just enough to move things off the nail plate, but not so hard that you're creating grooves or divots. Some people like using an e-file for this. I'm not skilled at that. I also don't like the noise. I don't want another device, to be honest, to keep around. This little tool works just fine for me. And then I like the pointy end for getting some of this off. You can see how much is coming off, and that's with me just very lightly pushing. I did take an extended break from filming nail videos, partially because I've just been really busy and tired, and then partially because I wanted to let my nails recover a bit. Nail stickers don't necessarily damage the nails if you do the proper removal and proper application, and I have a lot of removal videos, at least 2 or 3, that show you step by step how to remove these gently. However, it's good to give your nail beds a chance to rehydrate, to oil them. So I've been doing a lot of cuticle oil, and it has made a difference even around the nails, especially when I oil them. Now they look so healthy and so nice. So it's good to take a break occasionally, but unfortunately that means a break in the filming as well, because I can't batch film nail content. I truly actually test every nail application and let it last as long as possible so I can accurately report in the comments how long it lasted. Therefore, I can't batch film things on the weekend like I can with other types of videos. Once you're happy with the cuticle prep, and some people do a ton more cuticle prep, we're going to use a prep pad. Now, typically these are included, and something went wrong here. I am using a different brand that I had laying around. This is Polish Pops. I do have a video about them as well, but all the prep pads are more or less the same. They're usually soaked in rubbing alcohol, and the only difference really is the amount of the rubbing alcohol. Some of them are pretty dry, some are really, really moist, and the material that they're using, but really they pretty much do all the same. I typically keep a lot of Curad brand pads that I buy at Costco in the boxes with a ton of them in, but I can't find them right now. I usually have them in my nail bag, and I cannot find them today. So we are just going to use this Polish Pop pad. And the whole purpose of this step is to remove any of that little dust we just scraped off, but also to fully degrease the nails. And you can see how much more dry my nails look right now because we just removed all the moisture from them. These are our choices of sizes here. Each sheet has its own sizing. So this sheet, the two rows have the same sizes to each other, and then this sheet has different sizes. In my experience, it doesn't matter which side you put toward the cuticle unless there's a design that will clearly be upside down. My suggestion would be to see what fits better, especially on these bigger stickers that are probably going on your thumbs. I have very flat cuticle line on my thumbs compared to the rounded off on the other fingers. So if I'm using it on my thumb, I'm most likely going to use this side because it has a flatter edge here versus this more rounded edge. But play around and see what fits best. I like to hold the sticker over my nail and just kind of use my best judgment. I want it to be as close to the natural nail size as possible. If you must go one way or the other, too big or too small, opt for slightly too narrow versus slightly too wide. You don't want anything overlapping the skin. It looks sloppy, and more importantly, it allows moisture and oils and everything else to get under there, and you're not going to have a very long-lasting manicure. I peeled it off by the edge. If you have very long nails and you're going to use most of the sticker length, I suggest using tweezers to pick these up to avoid touching any of the sticky part that will go on your fingernail. I gently lay it down like this. Before smushing it down, I just take a look, make sure it's straight. It looks straight. And then I'm going to just take my thumb, press it down. I know this is my first sticker and this is my first time using this brand, but it feels very nice and pliable, and that's a good sign. Some brands have stiff stickers, and the brands will say, oh, you need to warm them up in your hands, or you need to sit on them before using. And that sometimes helps, but typically if the sticker is too stiff starting out, it's never a long-lasting application for me, ever. They start lifting at the sides, sometimes during curing even. This feels really nice. I'm using this optional rubber tip cuticle tool, not for my cuticles, but to just push down the sticker, and this creates a good seal around the edges. Around the edges is where you would have lifting and buckling and other potential problems. So I like to take an extra step and go over that. These can be stretched a bit side to side. So if you have a size that is almost perfect, but maybe you wish it were 0.5 millimeter wider, you could gently peel it off and then stretch it side to side before applying. There's a limit to how much you can stretch something, especially if there's a design. You do not want to ruin the design and distort it. But if you just need a little bit of extra width, that's a good trick. I try to avoid doing that because I'm not the most coordinated. It does require you to touch the sticky side, down lower on the sticker. That's going to go on your nail eventually. I mean, I don't necessarily have wear issues from doing that, but it's just extra work. So I try to find sizes that are fitting right off of the strip or right out of the box. You could go through the whole hand and do this and then trim them. Some people like clipping them because these are very pliable, and because I am much better with manicure scissors than I am with clippers, I use manicure scissors. Now here I did take a little bit of the nail length with it, just because my nails are very long for me right now. And you can see that this is not perfect. You can see the nail sticking out from there. You can see the shape is not super great. You can try to fix it now. Honestly, I find it easier to just fix that after curing. I'm going to cure these when I do my whole hand, when the whole hand is done. And I'm going to take a nail file and just file off all of those little imperfections, file off that extra nail that's sticking out, and kind of clean it all up. But of course, if you have a lot of length that you want to take down, then it's better to use the scissors or clippers before curing, because you cannot clip after curing. Some brands will show you that they leave the full length of the sticker, then they cure it, then they clip it. I feel like that's just a marketing ploy. I mean, the risk of it cracking doing that, because it's a hard strip at that point, I'm not taking that risk. I mean, that just seems silly to me. I've actually thought about filming like a commentary trash video of just reacting to some of these nail ads where they show horrendous applications. There was one brand that kept posting press-on nails, and they're beautiful press-ons that are, I think, handmade with lots of 3D designs. It was so pretty, but the pictures they kept posting, you could see that the nail is way bigger than the person's nail, and it just hangs over the skin. It looked terrible. And they finally commented something like, hey, I think the sizing is a little off on that application. It's probably not going to last as well as you'd want it to. And the brand replied and said, some people like full coverage nails. Okay, then carry on. I finished applying these off camera because it's so much easier. And then I went through and cleaned up some of the shape issues with scissors before curing, just because the less filing the better, honestly, because filing produces dust and it really annoys me. Therefore, I did kind of what I could with the scissors, but still, you can see this is uneven. The nails are hard now, so we can go ahead and file that off. Now, optionally, you could use a tool like this before the full cure with a lamp. This is a UV stamper tool. Mine's a little troubled, but here it is. So before curing, you could take it to the cuticle lines and just kind of rub it on, push. That starts the curing process. This is not enough by itself to cure the nails, but it can sometimes help prevent any lifting at the cuticle. I don't think these would lift at the cuticle because they are so soft and pliable and they were so easy to apply. I think they're adhering pretty well. Time will tell, and I'll put the wear results in the comments. But I wanted to show you this tool. I do have it linked in my Amazon list that you can find in the description box. However, the specific one I have is constantly sold out. Then I'll find a replacement and that's constantly sold out. I think they're all the same. You just want basically a stamper tool with a UV. These little pads are replaceable. I have saran wrap on mine because they do tend to rip when you push them onto the nails if it hits the edge of the nail. So I just don't want to keep replacing mine. But I wanted to show you this. I do have a video all about this tool specifically and a horror video with a squish, but wanted to show you that in case this is my first and maybe only video that you've seen. The nail file included with these is quite unimpressive. It's small and it feels a little flimsy. It would be okay if I didn't have any other options. I'm going to use a bigger one like this because it's easier to hold. And then all I do is just quickly go over the edge. You could get, again, like an electric file and do it with that. I don't want to for the reasons we already discussed. All I'm doing is smoothing out the shape and getting rid of little imperfections. One, I don't like seeing those, but two, if you have something uneven, a little catch, it can get snagged on something, maybe chip the sticker, maybe start lifting it. I always use a top coat with stickers, and I will show you that as well. That helps, but still it's good to have a smooth edge. I'll also say that having shorter nails sometimes means they last longer. Not always, and this will vary largely user to user. But for me, I feel like when I have shorter nails, they last a little bit longer than if I have long nails, but I also can't stand very long nails. I'm hoping that these stickers go 2 weeks for me. Usually day 11, 12, I start to have significant growth, and I can see that. At the cuticle line, I don't like that look, but I hope as far as the sticker itself goes that it stays on well because I'm frankly, like I said, tired and I don't want to keep redoing my nails. It's close to Halloween right now. I thought red would be appropriate. It is a beautiful color, and so far the application has gone very smoothly. You can see the dust I was talking about, and that's why I don't like to do too much filing. Whatever I can do with scissors, I do with scissors. This is what they look like after curing and filing. You could technically just stop there and be done. I don't know that that would get you the best wear. I feel like for me and my lifestyle and how much I do with my hands, I like a top coat. I like to seal the free edge here where the nail meets the sticker. I also like the added shine and a tiny bit of added thickness. There are some top coats that are meant to add a lot of thickness, the builder gel type things. I did make a video about the hard top coat that Lit Gels makes. That is a builder gel and a top coat in one. I'm not going to use that today because my nails are so short. It just doesn't make sense to do that. But that is an option. I am thinking about adding one of these guys. This is the Hey Hey Jelly Drops. They're like little 3D designs. I had a really hard time with these the last time because they're very hard to peel off of this sheet without damaging them, but I'm going to try. I successfully plucked off a tiny bow. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm using tweezers from my manicure set. I'm going to do my best here to put it centered on the ring finger. There we go. I don't know if that's exactly centered, but it's centered side to side. It's not centered up and down, but that's okay. So there's that. Now, if you're using that alone, I don't know how well it will last. The instructions say to put a top coat on and then cure everything with a top coat. Here's the second one. Ironically, I did not have any troubles getting these off the sheet, so maybe it was just the stars that are a little bit hard, because the last time I used this, I was using the stars. Now we're going to do the top coat. If you're wondering about the gloves, these are just UV protective gloves. I highly recommend getting some for lamp use. For the top coat, we're going to use this top coat by Lid Gels called Lid Gloss. This lid lock is the one that I was talking about. That is the 2-in-1 builder gel and top coat. I'm going to use just this one. Lid Gels also makes this Sun Glitz one. It has a little bit of glittery, shimmery, kind of speckly things in it, and it's really cute, but I feel like I just want red nails this time without the added shimmer. My camera really does not want to focus today. I'm sorry. I always pull it out slowly-ish and just kind of getting the excess off the brush. I don't want a big glob of gel anywhere. Now, starting with a pinky, we're going to start with capping the free edge. So I'm basically just trying to get the gel on that end of the nail. Now, this is a lot easier to do if you have longer nails because they hang off the fingertip. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. They extend past the fingertip, let's say it that way, and you are not going to get gel on the skin. If you do get gel on the skin, remove it. You can get a little brush, like a nail brush, soak it in remover and wipe it off. You can use an orange stick, something like that, but you want to get the gel off of your skin before you cure. I know gel allergies is a huge topic. Now, I've been doing my own nails. Before stickers were a thing, I was doing shellac at home, the actual brand shellac, not just gel. I had a lamp and everything, the top coat, base coat, colors. I never could do it as perfectly as I can stickers. I mean, you can always tell that I didn't go to the salon to do it. But I've done that. I've done stickers for a long time now, and I thankfully haven't had any issues with allergies. But still, I don't want to expose skin to uncured gel. With this little bow, I'm doing extra top coat. I want to coat everything around, kind of get the edges. The reason I start by capping a free edge is because a lot of the times that creates a little bulge at the end of the nail. But if you start there and then do the rest of the nail, you smooth out that little bulge with the brush. But I think the price we pay for having 3D designs is having a nail that's maybe not super duper perfect. But I kind of like that. I really like feeling those once it's all cured. I really like running my fingers over that when I'm thinking, or if I kind of like trying to solve something in my head and need to occupy my hands with something. I just sort of feel that design. I don't know, it's soothing. Maybe I'm the only one. Okay, so we go like this. The reason I start with the pinky is because you can't see my thumb very well here in the frame, but it is sideways. So if I start my top coat with the thumb, by the time I'm done with the pinky, since the thumb has been sideways this whole time, it creates a big pool of top coat on the edge of the thumb, and it creates this weird thicker part. You can't necessarily see it unless you have a top coat that is shimmery or something like that, but I can always feel it and I know it's there. And I like my nails to be as perfect as I can get them. They're not going to be perfect because perfection is pretty much unattainable, but I want them to be as perfect as possible. I do encourage you to watch some of my other nail videos, not because I'm chasing views. I mean, one view is not gonna do anything but for me, but I do encourage you to watch my other videos simply because I try to show different tips and tricks in each one, or show you something new, something useful. But I can't do all of it in every video because the videos are going to become too long and viewer retention is very difficult. Even if the video is for a brand that you are not considering, maybe that's not the brand that you have in your hands and getting ready to apply, most likely you will still find something useful in those videos because mostly the application for these things is pretty much the same regardless of the brand. Here's the final result. I love this so much. The color is exactly what I wanted. It's like a candy apple. Look how pretty that is. I've been staring at my ugly dry nails for way too long, and it's just so nice to have something. The application was easy. I have no complaints. I hope the wear is good. I mean, nothing really gives me a reason to think it won't be good, but we'll see. The application was really simple. I love how pliable these are. They were not difficult to work with at all. The color is beautiful. I did 1/62nd round in my lamp for the strips themselves, and then I did 2 rounds for the top coat. Everything feels nice and hard. I can't dent them. I smoothed out all the imperfections before the top coat. I feel like the bows add a little detail that I enjoy. One thing I forgot to mention is, as you're doing the top coat, if you just keep messing up, or you think you're messing up, and you want to keep adding more top coat to make it better, don't do that. Cure your one thin, ugly layer of top coat, and then go ahead and do another one if you need to. Because what tends to happen is if you have too much top coat or too much gel in general, if you're doing a gel manicure with gel colors, let's say, if there's too much, instead of curing nice and smooth, it will buckle. And ask me how I know. I've had a manicure years ago with a base coat and then the colors and the top coat. Everything's cured kind of in order, like the base and then the colors, whatever. Not all at once, but I was messing up with the color and I kept adding more and more and more. And then when I cured it, it had this ripple all the way down with cured gel on top and raw uncured gel underneath. It was terrible. And there's really nothing worse than messing up so badly when you're toward the end of a manicure. Let me know what you think. I'll post how long these last in the comment. I've actually been tracking all year, all of my manicures, even the ones I didn't film, and how long they lasted and everything, so I can report back to you at the end of the year if you're curious. But also sometimes it's just hard to remember when somebody asks, hey, remember that one brand? How did it wear? I'm like, I don't know. I remember generally something was good or bad. Anything that's really, really bad, of course, stands out. But if it was just okay and it's been 8 months or a year and a half since I wore it, I have no idea anymore. So I've just been taking notes. But let me know what you think. I put links for everything in the description box. I do have affiliate discount codes with Hey Hey and with Lid Gels. I don't have one with Njala. I'm going to reach out to them and see if maybe they have an affiliate program because I do really like these, but we'll see how they wear as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this video was useful. If you have any other ideas or suggestions on what I should try next, please let me know. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. You can find me on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit, my blog KBeautyHobbit.com, and in my private Facebook group, Korean Beauty Fanatics. Hope to see you in my next video. Until then, have a wonderful week. Thank you so much. Bye.